How do you prioritize a life on your own terms and build a legacy of success for your family? Do what you love. Sharia Livingston has always dreamed of owning her own clothing business, but as a young mother, she opted for the safe bet and pursued a career in nursing. Her obsession with high-quality fashion never dulled, and when her daughter was old enough to share her dreams, the mother-daughter duo launched their own brand, Living Rich, in 2015. Sharia Livingston and Sha'Miah Richardson are promoting a fashion empire, a vibe, and a reminder to take a bet on yourself. A combination of their last names, Living Rich is a lifestyle streetwear brand boasting comfort, quality, and style that offer unique unisex pieces that promote confidence and individuality. The business was launched as an online retailer but quickly evolved to a pop-up and ultimately a brick-and-mortar. Sharia and Sha'Miah are taking Cleveland's fashion scene by storm. Today on Small Business Big Conversations, I'm talking to Sharia Livingston of Living Rich. Welcome to Small Business Big Conversations. It is great to have you here. Look, I know a lot about retail. I know a lot about business to consumer, small business. I don't know anything about fashion. I don't know anything about fashion. Tell me what it's like to start a business in the fashion industry, to create your own line, essentially.
Yeah, it's tough. It's interesting, but it's tough at the same time because you got to think about it. In fashion, you have to stay up on the trends. You have to stay relevant. And if you're in a field of like fast fashion, you got to like keep up. So it's definitely tough, but it's fun at the same time to be able to create pieces of your own, especially something that has your name on it versus like if you were to go to like a boutique and it has like so many different brands and things like that, but to really be a part of the process of designing and bringing it to life so customers are buying something that you actually created. Yeah. Like that's the part that's like super priceless for me.
So let's back up to behind that. I wanted to start with that because this Jumpstart quarter zip is pretty nice.
I love it on you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But you're definitely outshining me over here. Let's just say that. I wanted to start with that, and we can back up to just kind of the inspiration. Where did Living Rich come from?
So that's a great question. Originally, as I was growing up, I was always into fashion, but more so streetwear. I was always a tomboy, but I grew up in a single parent household, and like a lot of the brands that I was interested in and liked to wear, my mother just couldn't afford. Yeah. So on those special days, which were like around Christmas time, my birthday, and then she got her income tax, and then we would go to the mall. I was always the kid that would like venture off. Like my brother and sister would be stuck to my mom like glue, and I was like doing my own thing. I'm going to certain stores that I really know my mother is not going to buy me anything out of, but I'm literally like unzipping jackets and unbuttoning shirts. I'm looking at the stitching, like stuff kids is not really doing for the most part.
Usually they're with mom asking for a quarter to ride the thing in the middle of the mall,
I'm looking at the details of the clothes. I'm looking at the price tags because I was having a hard time understanding, okay, we're at the mall and we go into Dillard's and stores like that. The prices are much higher than when we leave the mall and go to like Burn to Go factory. However, the stuff looks and feels pretty similar. So my gears was already going. Yeah. And I always would say like one day I am going to create my own brand where people can actually get good quality and afford it at the same time. But life happened, and I ended up becoming a teen mom. So I had my daughter when I was in high school, and like those dreams are like, oh, I'm going to create my own brand and all this stuff. It came to like a screeching halt. And of course, back then, being pregnant in high school, I heard all the different stereotypes. I heard, what I'm not going to do, what I'm not going to be capable of doing, what's going to hold me back. I was already in my mind then defining my own rich. Like I was already telling myself my life is going to be whatever I want it to be, not what you say it's going to be or not what you think because of my current circumstances. This is where I am. This is not where I'm going. And I embedded that in myself, and I embedded that in my child once I had her. And that's really where the idea originated from. But fast forward, I actually graduated high school on time, even though everybody said I was not. I went to college 2 times, graduated top of my class both times, and I became a registered nurse when I was like 23 going on 24 years old. So now financially, I'm in a place where, okay, I can start bringing some of my visions and some of my dreams to life, at least start. It's not going to be where I want it to be, but I can at least start now. You know, things were going a little bit better for me and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually adopted a lot of my style. And it's a lot of things because you got to think, having her so young, we were like this, like thick as thieves. Everything I did, she was right there next to me. She even walked across the stage with me when I graduated. So it's just like, that's my sidekick. And so she was very creative herself because she had got to the age, I think my daughter was about 8 or something like that, 8 or 9, where she started having her own idea of what fashion looked like to her. Mm-hmm. Now, although I was a tomboy, she wasn't a tomboy. She was a girly girl. But what she would do is, like, the clothes that I would buy her, she would actually pair it with like something more girlier. So like if I picked out a hoodie and jogging pants like set, she wants to wear the hoodie and a skirt and some stockings. So it was like, okay, she's picking up her own idea of style here. So that's when I was like, you know what? Let's create our own brand. And of course, she was all on board for it. But with her being so young and me having more of the expertise in certain areas, of course, I had to take the lead on most of the things when we first started. But nevertheless, the hardest piece at the beginning was figuring out what we were going to call it. Because I look at brands and sometimes I'm like, I see the quality is good and things like that, but why is it called this? Like, this doesn't even make any sense, you know? So that was the biggest piece. And I literally, like I tell people this all the time, I literally went to sleep one day and when I woke up, I said, living rich. But I still at that point did not put the two together on like the real meaning. For me, it was just like, let me create something where the consumer, the person that's putting it on, can define what it means to them. That way it's not putting myself in a box to where it's like, oh, I can't wear this because of this. No, you can wear this because it means whatever you want it to mean. It literally wasn't until I started saying it to people when I was like pitching it and telling people like what we were coming out with. So I'm like, wait a minute, this really is my life. Because rewind back to when I was younger, I was defining what my life was going to go, what my life was going to be. And the name is a combination of me and my daughter's last names. Mine is Livingston, hers is Richardson. And this is our story, this is our life, and this is living rich. And so that helped me come up with the slogan, Define Your Rich. So,
which is a great one. And it certainly, it epitomizes your story, your inspirational story, and works, quite frankly, as a brand and a brand promise itself. So you've developed, this line. You've also have to manage the retail side of it and running that. Are there parallels there? Are there big differences between a brick and mortar store and also like the design side of things?
Oh my God.
Like, what is going on with all of that for you?
Oh my God. It's definitely differences. It's definitely a lot. More so because when we started, we were just doing online. And unlike some people, they start online, they go right into having a brick and mortar location. We literally have been climbing the ladder. We started out strictly online. Then we were doing pop-up shops. And then we applied to the Neighborhood Transformation Initiative program, pitch program. We won us an incubator space there. And then we went to brick and mortar. So it's like we literally have been climbing this ladder. And each ladder we have been learning. Like, although I have a store, a lot of people think like I'm the expert and stuff. And it's like, no, I'm still learning this thing. Like, every year, It's a new learning experience for us because now we're not just strictly online. So now I have to think about the customer that walks in the door.
Yeah.
I have to think about that experience. What do I want them to feel like when they walk in, and how I want them to feel when they leave? Presentation. Before customers were seeing it either at a pop-up shop or they see it online and I package it up, send it to them. Now they're walking in. Presentation is everything.
Yeah.
That will make or break if they're going to even look around in the store. So I had to pull all, and just making sure I have a good product. Like,
sure.
I have a whole store now. So it's not like I can just sell t-shirts and hats. Like, you have to fill this space up. So it's like and advertisements, signage, just employees, utilities, like a lot of more bills. So it's like a lot of moving pieces into that. And I always tell people, like, I'm learning. So I can tell you what I've experienced and what I've, knowledge that I've gained with this, but I'm still figuring it out.
I mean, opening up that location is a huge step. You don't strike me, though, as somebody who's just going to kind of sit around and be satisfied with what you're doing. And it's always, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? So you do have, that growth mindset. What are some other, you mentioned the pitch competition that you did. What are some other like resources and things like that you've taken advantage of to help you grow or to help you grow into the future?
Absolutely. One, I always look at industry leaders, or like who's the leaders in my space, and I pay attention to them. I pay attention to what they're doing. If they're offering classes, if they're offering opportunities, I'll literally travel wherever so that I can learn. So I'm always getting in the room. I don't care if it's an event in Cleveland. I don't care if it's in LA. Like, if it's going to benefit me, teach me something, help me get to the next level, help me shake hands with the right person, starting a relationship, I'm getting there. If I have to save some money, whatever the entry fee is, I'm getting there. If they have a virtual option where I don't have to travel, but I can still be in the room, but on the screen, I'm going to be there. So I make sure I involve myself in everything that I can. Even if I can't learn something, but I can teach somebody else something, I'm getting in the room, because that is my opportunity to let people know who I am and what I offer, even if I'm not there to learn. They're going to be there to learn about me, whether they know it or not.
You talk about kind of just manifesting your life and thinking about what living rich means to you, and even what you thought about when you were younger, and when you first had your daughter. So tell me about that. What are your plans for the future? Like, how big is this going to get?
Honestly, and I don't want to get too like spiritual, but it's going to get as big as God allows us to get. I'm going to do my part and let God do the rest. And I want to build a legacy. I want to build something that people will talk about even when I'm gone. That's my desire for Living Rich. And it may not just be apparel. I am big in educating. I'm big on leadership, which is why I created Rich Scholars up under Living Rich, because I like to teach. So I look at things like the I Promise School. Like, I want my own school one day. Like, I literally want my own school one day, but that's a part of my dream and my legacy for Living Rich, to be something where people can look at and hear about and speak about and say, that was about leadership. That was about empowerment. It was so much bigger than fashion. Like, I don't aspire for Living Rich just to be a clothing brand. I aspire Living Rich to be a mission. Much, much bigger than clothes. So I think this is just the starting point for it. A lot of people see us and like, oh, you guys been around for a while, a few years, but I'm still in the beginning stages mentally for me, so because I see this, so like I said, when I'm long and gone, I see this much bigger than clothes.
I'm so excited to see where it goes. I want to talk more about legacy and what that means to you. We're going to take a real quick break. When we get back, we'll be talking to Sharia about so much more, and we'll continue Living Rich right after this.
My name is Valerie Mayen, and my business is the Yellow Cake Shop Clothing Company. We have been operational since 2009, and I really didn't see some real actual growth until I started working with Jumpstart. When I learned how to actually keep track of my expenses and set actual goals, I was able to discover so much more that I was capable of that I didn't realize.
Jumpstart provides capital, services, and connections to help entrepreneurs grow. Get started today at jumpstartinc.org.
We are back with Sharia Livingston of Living Rich here on Small Business Big Conversations. And I mentioned I want to talk a little bit about legacy. So this is, a lot of small businesses can be the family business, right? This is the family business. This is mother-daughter kind of running things together. Talk about developing a legacy for your daughter through what's essentially a partnership between the two of you.
Oh, man. One, this means so much to me because this is not something that I grew up watching. This is not something that was set as an example for me growing up on either side, my mom or my dad's side of the family. So this is me setting the blueprint for what I want for my legacy. So my daughter's children, her children, their children, I want this to be the blueprint to let them know that how important it is to build with your family, to support your family, to be there for one another, things like that, that wasn't really instilled in me when I was growing up. So that alone is okay, again, we're learning this thing, as we move along, because I don't have anybody that was teaching me this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, it can get kind of tricky also because it's we're doing business one minute and the next minute.
That's what I want to know.
It's family.
I've got 3 daughters. I can't even imagine.
Oh my God.
Your business partner, you're the parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, you were younger and you were always kind of close, closer in age than a lot of folks, as you were both kind of growing up.
Exactly.
But how do you balance being, okay, we're making business decisions versus clean up your room type of thing?
It gets tricky because my daughter is, she's a teenager now. She's just now about to be 19 in May, but she holds grudges. She's a tourist too. So she's bullheaded, and I can tell her something and literally it'll pour off into our regular personal social experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if she disagrees with something with me in the business, or if I had to talk to her about, scold her or whatever about something she didn't do, later on when we're at home, she's giving me the silent treatment. And I'm okay, that was at the store. Why are you still mad? Are we doing this right now? So it's learning, and she's getting better.
Yeah.
But the piece is communicating. So helping her understand proper ways to communicate and how to separate the two. So I have to teach her that continuously, and she's gotten a lot better. Even myself, she's Mom, you have an attitude that was 3 days ago. Da, da, da. And I'm you're right. How can I get on you about something, and here I am doing it? But
yeah.
That's because we learn how to communicate. And communication is so important when you're doing a family business, to be able to, 1, separate the two, and 2, communicate. Proper communication. So, yeah.
And she's such an important part of your business.
Exactly.
Because, streetwear lines are all about being relevant and, having that, that whatever the vibe is that your brand has, maintaining that. So how do you develop that? I mean, I'm assuming a lot of it is relying on her.
Yeah.
How do you develop that and keep everything relevant?
Well, actually, the neat thing is because we're both in 2 different age brackets, it works out pretty well. Literally our customer base is 50-50.
Okay.
Her age group and my age group. So a lot of people in my age group are still with the trends.
Yeah.
They're still with the trends, but they focus more on the quality and the price versus her age group. honestly don't care about quality. Like they just they focus more so on what's trending, what looks hot, you know, and they do focus on the price for the most part, but these kids, they don't really care how much something, because usually they're not the ones paying for it. So, you know, we figure out a way to balance the both of those. I do rely more on her to keep up with what's going on and what we should do next, but she drops the ball still. So I still have to like piggyback a lot of times. It's really about us working together, but at the same time, because I know that she is still evolving with life in general, she's still learning who she is and what she wants to do. I always revisit the business aspect and ask her, you know, do you want to do this? Yeah. Because that can, what this looks like could change for her. Sure. She could desire to do things that doesn't relate to this business. I don't want to be the parent or the business owner that's forcing something on someone just because, or her to feel like she's going to disappoint me if she doesn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. So that's why I want to build the business, but not necessarily build it around us, but build the name and the mission up itself. So if I need to bring others in to run it, you know, when the passion just isn't there for her, or maybe even me, I start want to get more so on teaching, it doesn't remove the business living rich itself.
That's, as a parent, that's so reassuring to hear, because I think, especially, you know, as a business owner, and let's go back to what I said earlier about the family business, right? It's, you know, John's construction company, and John was was in construction, and then John Jr.'s in construction, and John, and they, a lot of times there isn't a choice, or there's no implied choice. It's just like, that's what we do, that's what we've done. So the fact that they're saying that is great. And I think that also goes back to what you said at the beginning, is that living rich can mean something different. It's very personal to each person. You know what it means to you. What would you say it means to her?
If I had to speak for her, I would just say that it means to her, my daughter, I can tell by the things that she says and the things that she does that she really wants to make me proud. She definitely wants to make me proud, even though sometimes, like, if she feels like she disappointed me in other areas, like, her goal is to make me proud. And she always talks about how hard I've worked. So she wants to be able to help me the way that I have been able to help her for all her life. So I think that is like living rich to her, to be able to give back to the person that gave so much to her.
So how are you going to cash in on that?
I know, right? We were just talking about that. I don't know. I put my dibs in, but no, I think that's what it is to her, just to set, to set an even better example, you know. And I've instilled in her, like, I want you to, I know, like, people outside of us look at me like, oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. I want you to soar so much higher than I ever could have imagined. You know, like, I want you to surpass me, like, I mean, astronomically. Like, that's how, like, I want so much more for you. Yeah. That is enough for me. Like, if I don't reach the heights and the levels that I want to, that's okay, because for me, if I can give you the tools so you can, it's a win. It's a win,
So, you know, this living rich is your brand. It's your personal mantra. We also, in a previous conversation you and I had, you talked about leaving your mark, which I think is really aligned with that. Can you talk about what that means, to leave your mark as a business owner, as a parent, as just somebody trying to do their best in the world?
Yeah. Leaving my mark will be leaving, a legacy, leaving the note that people know that Sharia Livingston is someone that does exactly what she says and means what she says. And it's all about helping others and ignoring the what can't be done. She is the person that, although they said this couldn't be done, I believe it can, because she did it. Like, I want to be the reason that somebody does not quit, does not stop, does the unthinkable. I want to be that. That's my mark for me. Like, that's what I want people to talk about. I often tell my daughter, everything that you do in life, before you do it, know that every action has a reaction, and how you treat people, how you go about business, everything. Think about what you want people to say about you at your funeral. And that's how I operate in life. Like, what do I want people to say about me when I can no longer speak for myself? And that's how I operate in personal relationships, business relationships, in my everyday life. What do I want people to say about me? So that's the mark that I want to leave. And I want people to say Sharia Livingston and also say, define my rich, because that's what I want people to do. So
I could ask you 100 more questions, mostly because you're incredibly inspiring, and I could just listen to you talk all day.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I've only got 6 more questions to ask you.
Okay.
And that is part of our Fast 5. I know that's a little misleading. We'll talk about that right after this break. Stay tuned for more Small Business Big Conversations.
My name is Chanel Walker. I am the CEO of Professional Inspiration, and we empower educators through educational opportunities such as workshops, teacher talks, so that they can thrive in their profession and not burn out. We need our teachers. Jumpstart has helped me go from just a teacher who had a dream to be an entrepreneur and help educators to a businesswoman and educator. So the Impact program educated me so much in so many areas, including marketing and finance and so many things that as a teacher, I just didn't know. Also, in regard to capital, I was able to get funding to help me grow the business. I now have 2 part-time employees that are permanent because of Jumpstart and their ability to help and guide me to grow the company, which has just been so impactful, no pun intended, or maybe it was. It's only so much that you know about certain parts of your business, but Jumpstart really gives you that deep dive into areas that really help you. So I've taken advantage of that. I also was in Chain Reaction, which allowed for Jumpstart to give me another opportunity with a one-on-one coach, really sharpen up my pitch even more. And that was just, again, an opportunity to help me grow as a business person, to help me see my business in a way that's not just about, yes, I want to help educators, but how can you continuously help educators by getting in front of the right people and really scaling that business so you can help more and more educators. That's what Jumpstart has done for me. Everybody's business is so different. My business is very unique. And so my coach was an educator before. So that is really so helpful to me personally, that they paired us because they knew that I could get that type of, perspective, which is so important to my business. But that one-on-one coaching that Jumpstart gives you, along with continuous resources. It's not just, oh, you did that, thank you, bye-bye. It's like, no, we've got more resources. Do you need to learn about marketing? Do you need to learn about how to pitch? Do you need to learn about this? It's continuous support. And that continuous support that Jumpstart has given me throughout being an entrepreneur, it has been game-changing. So I would definitely recommend it. Get the coaching, get the support. You need it, and Jumpstart is the way to go.
We are back with Sharia Livingston of Living Rich here on Small Business Big Conversations. We've reached my favorite part of the show, which is our lightning round, our Fast 5. Sharia, here's how it's going to work. We've got 6 questions. Okay. You have to answer 5 of them. That's where the Fast 5 comes in, okay? If you answer all 6, you win a prize. And because I know that you are a fashion icon, I'm going to give you my Jumpstart quarter zip.
Oh, my goodness.
I won't do it on the air. We'll do that after this. But all right, so here we go. What is the most common myth you think about running a business?
That it's not that hard, or that it's easy. And that everybody can do it.
I love that. We are 2 for 2. I've asked that question twice. So last month I asked that question too, and it was the same thing.
Really?
It was like, but it's easy. And I'm like, who are these people that are thinking this? If you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
I would probably be a doctor.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. You are the most ambitious person I think I've ever met. So I think I think I know the answer to this. Maybe I don't. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Believe it or not, I am an introvert. I'm an introvert. Most of the time, I literally just had this conversation with my daughter. People wouldn't believe I spend 98% of my time by myself.
Wow.
Literally. The 2% is literally like stuff like events and, you know, birthday parties that I decide to attend because I'm very picky with that myself. So, yeah, I'm very much so an introvert.
If you could bring one thing to Cleveland, anything, I'm leaving that open-ended, what would it be?
It would definitely be a school solely focused on business and entrepreneurship that is free for people. All you have to do is show that this is something that you really want to do, and all the resources that you need will be in this building.
When are you going to start that? No,
I
that's
know,
not
right?
One of the questions. That's not one of the questions. All right. So which famous brand or designer would be awesome to partner with?
Kith.
There you go. That was like right there.
It's my favorite.
And last one, I think you're going to answer all of them. What's your favorite Cleveland restaurant?
This is a hard one. Okay, so when I want to like be fancy, Marble Room.
Yeah.
That is my top tier favorite restaurant. I go there by myself at least once a month. Love it. When it comes to like everyday type of food that I wouldn't mind eating if it was closer to me, I love vitamin candy.
Yeah.
I would have to just say that's it, just off the top of my head, because I will eat anywhere, to be totally honest. But like if I had to choose, like, okay, where do I want to sit down and actually eat? As long as the food is good.
Yeah.
There's
no shortage. There's no
it's
shortage
not.
in
Cleveland, people are sleep on Cleveland when it comes to food. It's a lot of good restaurants and places to actually eat here. So
well, hey, look, I owe you this.
You do.
So I know you're going to hold me to it too.
I am.
At this point. You plugged Vitamin Candy. You plugged Marble Room. I want to give you the opportunity to plug Living Rich. So tell us, where can we find everything? What's going on? Where can we follow you? All that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So I am Living Rich is located at 740 Richmond Road in Richmond Heights, right off of Richmond Road, so you cannot miss it. We are also on social media at I Am Living Rich. I am on social media at Rich Girl Rhea, and my education platform, Rich Scholars, is on social media at rich.scholars. And last but not least, our website is iamlivingrich.com.
Sharia Livingston, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate you.
My guest today has been Sharia Livingston of Living Rich. You can find her online by visiting iamlivingrich.com and see all their work on Instagram at iamlivingrich. Thanks again to Sharia for joining us today. Thank you to the amazing folks at VAR Studios for all the work behind the scenes, to everybody at Jumpstart for making all of this possible, and of course to you for tuning in. I'm Freddie Coffey, and we will see you next time on Small Business Big Conversations. See ya.